The biggest mistakes start with the idea that learning a language isn't about studying for 5 hours a day. It's about consistent exposure plus active practice. Have you ever wanted to learn a new language, but had no idea where to start? You download a few apps, memorize some words, watch a couple of videos, and then, somehow, you stop. The truth is, learning a language doesn't have to be complicated. You don't need to study for hours every day or memorize thousands of words. You just need the right methods, the right resources, and most importantly, consistency. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to learn any language from scratch, including the best apps, YouTube channels, books, study methods, and little habits that can make a huge difference. So grab your notebook, and let's start learning. Instead of saying, "I want to learn English," ask yourself what you actually want to do with the language. Maybe your goal is to have a 10-minute conversation with a native speaker. Maybe you want to watch your favorite TV show without subtitles, travel confidently, or pass an exam. The more specific your goal is, the easier it becomes to stay motivated and measure your progress. Big goals can feel overwhelming, so break them down into smaller milestones. For example, this week you could learn 50 new words, understand one short YouTube video, or introduce yourself confidently in your target language. Remember, every fluent speaker started with small, simple goals. Focus on one step at a time, and before you know it, you'll be much closer to achieving your dream. One of the biggest mistakes language learners make is memorizing long lists of random words. You might remember them for a day or two, but you'll probably forget them because you don't know how to use them. Instead, learn new words through sentences and real-life situations. For example, don't just learn the word decision. Learn a sentence like, "I need to make a decision." This helps you understand the meaning, grammar, and the natural way native speakers use the word. You can also learn vocabulary by reading books, watching YouTube videos, listening to podcasts, or reading short articles. Whenever you find a useful word or expression, write down the whole sentence instead of just the word. And don't forget to review your vocabulary regularly. Apps like Anki or Quizlet use spaced repetition, which helps you remember words for a much longer time. Remember, the goal isn't to know thousands of words, it's to know how to use them naturally. Now that you know how to study, let's talk about some resources that can actually make learning a language easier. First, YouTube. YouTube is one of the best free resources for language learning because you can find content for almost every level. If you're a beginner, look for channels that teach basic vocabulary, pronunciation, and simple conversations. Try searching for things like English for Beginners, English Stories for Beginners, or Slow English. If you're at an intermediate level, you can start watching vlogs, interviews, podcasts, and videos about topics you're interested in. You don't always need to watch traditional language learning videos. Watching content that you genuinely enjoy can help you stay motivated. For more advanced learners, challenge yourself with videos made for native speakers. Watch documentaries, interviews, commentary videos, or podcasts. You might not understand every word, and that's completely okay. Now, let's talk about apps. Duolingo can be useful for beginners and for building a daily habit. Anki is great for vocabulary because it uses spaced repetition, while Quizlet is useful for reviewing words and creating flashcards. But remember, don't depend on one app to learn an entire language. Use apps as tools alongside listening, reading, speaking, and writing. And finally, books. If you're a beginner, don't immediately pick up a complicated novel. Start with graded readers designed for language learners. Look for books labeled A1 or A2 if you're a beginner. At an intermediate level, try B1 or B2 graded readers, short stories, or even a simple novel. And if you're advanced, you can challenge yourself with C1 or C2 books and novels written for native speakers. One important tip: you don't have to understand every single word. If you understand the general meaning, keep reading. Only stop for words that are important or that you see repeatedly. The best resource isn't necessarily the most popular one. It's the one that you actually enjoy using consistently. So choose content that makes you think, "I want to watch one more video," or "I want to read one more page." That's how learning becomes a habit instead of a chore. One of the best ways to learn a language is to surround yourself with it. You don't have to move to another country or have native speakers around you. You can create your own little language environment wherever you are. Start with something simple. Change your phone language to the language you're learning. This way, you'll naturally see words and expressions every single day. Then, try to make your entertainment part of your learning. If you love watching Netflix, watch your favorite shows in your target language. At first, you can use subtitles in your own language. Then switch to subtitles in the language you're learning, and eventually try watching without subtitles. You can do the same with YouTube, TikTok, music, podcasts, and social media. Follow creators who speak the language you're learning and let your feed become a place where you naturally hear and read the language. You can even talk to yourself. For example, when you're getting ready in the morning, describe what you're doing. I'm getting dressed. I'm making breakfast. I need to leave in 10 minutes. It might feel a little strange at first, but it's a simple way to practice thinking in the language. And here's another tip. Stop translating everything word for word. When you see an object, try to think of its name directly in the language you're learning instead of translating it from your native language. The goal is to make the language feel less like a school subject and more like a normal part of your life. The more you see, hear, read, and use the language every day, the more naturally your brain starts to recognize I. Another thing that can make a huge difference when learning a language is tracking your progress. Sometimes, you feel like you're not improving because you focus too much on what you still don't know. But when you actually look back, you might realize how far you've come. So, find a simple way to track your progress. For example, at the beginning of the month, record yourself speaking about your day for 1 or 2 minutes. Don't worry about making mistakes, just speak naturally. Then, do the same thing a month later. You can also keep a small language learning journal where you write down new words you've learned, grammar you've understood, books you've finished, or videos you can now understand. Another great idea is to set small monthly goals. For example, January. Learn 100 useful words. February. Finish 1 beginner book. March. Have a 10-minute conversation. April. Watch a video without subtitles. And don't compare your progress with other people. Everyone learns at a different pace. The important thing is to compare yourself today with yourself a few months ago. Even if your progress feels slow, remember that every word you learn, every sentence you understand, and every conversation you attempt is progress. So don't just study the language, keep track of how much you're growing. And that's it. Learning a language isn't about being perfect, memorizing thousands of words, or studying for hours every single day. It's about showing up, even when you only have a few minutes. Set a clear goal, learn vocabulary and context, surround yourself with the language, use the right resources, and don't forget to track your progress. Some days you'll feel like you're improving so fast, and other days you'll feel like you're getting nowhere. But that's completely normal. Keep going. Remember, you don't have to become fluent overnight. You just have to become a little better than you were yesterday. So, choose the language you've always wanted to learn, start with one small step today, and enjoy the journey. White heart. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who's also learning a language.